Hi everybody and happy Wednesday. We have another video about conspiracy theories or not. I think a lot of this stuff is true, but this is the guy I like to follow to show me all the stuff that is not on the regular news outlets and that you will not hear from really anybody else. This guy kind of digs and finds all the truth and puts it out for us to know, so we actually are not in the dark about what's going on around the world. So before we get into the video, please maybe leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more updates. And we got the Twisted Tuesday storytelling also going on, and I got a really good one for Tuesday, so mark your calendar, turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any updates. All right, let's get into it.
We have a lot to cover on today's video, and we're going to start things off with this insane story about sun dimming. What if hostile nations could literally dim the sun to attack us? Sounds insane until you realize the UK government just admitted it's a real concern. According to a letter reported by the Telegraph, the UK fears that countries like Russia could weaponize solar geoengineering, specifically something called solar radiation modification, SRM. It's a process where reflective aerosols are pumped into the upper atmosphere to bounce sunlight away from Earth, and yes, it's real. The UK is even funding a £50 million project to study it. But here's the catch. SRM doesn't just cool the planet, it can disrupt rainfall patterns, alter global temperatures, and potentially collapse agricultural systems. A 2021 Nature study showed SRM could cause unpredictable weather shifts across entire continents. And if a
Whoa, is that why we're having such crazy weather and all these hurricanes where I live in Florida? And all these hurricanes that are going like to North Carolina and places that they really shouldn't be. All this weather modification, it's really, really scary. And I know Florida has now passed a ban for any kind of chemtrails, and you're not allowed to spray anything from an airplane, which is really good. I live in Florida, but for the other places, it's kind of worrying.
nation used it without coordination, it could trigger droughts, floods, or food shortages, and no one could stop it. Some experts, like Lieutenant General Richard Nugi, are skeptical, saying it's too expensive to use it as a weapon. But think about it. Russia has already used hybrid tactics, like weaponizing migration flows into Europe. Why not climate as the next battlefield? This wouldn't leave a crater, it wouldn't trigger alarms, but it could silently destabilize entire regions. The sky wouldn't look different, but your crops fail, your energy grid crashes, your people panic. And here's the scary part. There's no international agreement banning SRM use. No watchdog, no consequences. So if someone starts spraying the skies, how would we even know? And if you want to understand how scary sun dimming can be, you only have to look at 536 AD, which is considered the worst year in human history by many scholars. The reason for this is pretty simple. Multiple volcanic eruptions sent so much chemical debris into the air that the sun pretty much stopped showing up. This led to so much grain shortage that people were willing to pay more than 40 grams of gold for about 2 pounds of grain, and still
wow,
couldn't find it. This
40 grams of gold
was seen all over the world and is even blamed for the eventual downfall of the Western Roman Empire. So yes, an enemy can certainly use it to cause an infinite amount of chaos, but sun dimming isn't the only weapon that can change the course of history. We also have to worry about AI because it's going absolutely nuts. This is some terrifying news, and it has people saying WTF. Another creepy AI moment just dropped, and it's got people seriously questioning what the hell ChatGPT is actually doing behind the scenes. So here's what went down. A user named Liz was just trying to make a simple grocery list using ChatGPT, when suddenly the AI responds with a message clearly meant for someone else, Lindsay and Robert. Not only does it mention their names, it responds as if it's in the middle of their conversation. Now pause. Think about that. This wasn't just a glitch. According to a 2024 SpiceWorks report, ChatGPT has had previous leaks involving names, passwords, even conversations accidentally shared across users.
I use ChatGPT all the time for all kinds of different things, emails. I use it to sometimes help me out with story ideas, and that is really scary. I mean, what next? I mean, there's just so much surveillance and so much stuff against our privacy. It's just, this stuff is getting really crazy, and somebody needs to do something about it.
isn't a one-off, it's a pattern. OpenAI brushed it off as a context mix-up, blaming it on hallucinations. But let's be real, when AI starts pulling random conversations from other people's accounts, we are way past hallucinations.
Right.
We're in data leak territory. A 2023 study found these models overgeneralize from huge data sets and sometimes confuse real info for learned patterns. That's scary enough, but it gets darker. A 2025 Thorough report shows AI-assisted cyber attacks are already skyrocketing. We're not talking hypotheticals. We're talking real-world breaches happening right now with AI in the driver's seat. So here's the big question. If ChatGPT is already leaking private convos now, what happens when it's fully integrated into hospitals, banks, and your phone? At what point does this stop being a glitch and start being a surveillance tool? Because if AI is talking to you about someone else, who's it talking to about you? Look, you
Right.
don't have to be a rocket scientist to fully understand the threat here. ChatGPT alone has more than 600 million monthly and 160 million daily users, and this number is only going up. Now, imagine a fraction of those people start receiving chats from other people's conversations. Don't you think it could cause total mayhem? And what if it starts sharing information from all those government agencies that are now using this AI model on a daily basis? It'll be a national disaster. On top of this, just this month, we found out there were Russian, Chinese, and Iranian hackers who were using ChatGPT for various scams before they were finally banned. So how in the world can we be certain that our information won't just be leaked to any one of those hackers? Now, moving on, I want to discuss the dangers of false alerts. Yesterday, some media outlets started reporting a possible bomb threat near the White House. Only after a while did we find out that the Secret Service was just investigating a suspicious vehicle near the White House, which is why they had to close the roads. But this trend isn't just limited to DC. Something even crazier happened in New York. It all began when the Citizen app in Bronx went haywire and sent this alert on Sunday. Nuclear bomb found at university. I'm sure you know things were pretty tense over the weekend, so of course people started freaking out. Later, it was revealed that clearly this was a false alarm, and in fact, they were trying to tell people about the deadly fires in the area.
To developing story, 13 firefighters and EMS worker were hurt in a 5-alarm fire in the Bronx.
And now this morning, residents are waking up to some extensive damage. Flames
Wow.
and smoke soared into the sky Sunday night as firefighters rushed in with hose lines to try and contain this house fire on DeVoe Terrace.
Now, what's concerning is that the fire that caused all this damage and hurt so many people was actually started by a single lithium-ion battery. Of course, the fire quickly spread to other electronic devices that also had such batteries, and eventually it spread to multiple structures. If a single battery can cause so much damage, surely you can understand why people in California are protesting against lithium battery plants.
A group from South Orange County, including County Supervisor Katrina Foley, want to make it clear that the spot on the other side of this hill is not the place for a battery storage facility.
The fire risk is insanity. There's horses, there's people, there's homes, so much at stake here. And we have to stop this.
There is no way to extinguish a lithium battery fire except to let it burn.
But of course, when it comes to money, public safety is always overlooked, and then we wonder how such a tragedy could have ever taken place. For example, who would we blame if some foreign insects suddenly started sending our kids to the ER? Something isn't right. Asian needle ants, a venomous invasive species, are now spreading across 20 U.S. states.
I wonder if this has anything to do with China and them. They were already trying to sneak stuff to ruin our crops, and all those specimens they got caught with. I think it was 2 Chinese nationals that got caught with it, if I'm correct. And now this, and now we got all this stuff going on with Iran. They're all out to get us, and this is really scary. This could affect our food supply, and this all lines up with the Bible. I mean, I'm not very religious, but I am. So this stuff is scary.
hives, vomiting, even anaphylaxis. People are literally dying and no one's warning you. They were first detected in the 1930s, but suddenly, after nearly a century of low visibility, they're everywhere. That's not nature, that's deployment. Now pair this with something the media barely touched. 2 Chinese nationals just caught smuggling fusarium, a fungus that wipes out
That's what I was referring to.
crops. You don't accidentally smuggle a bioweapon fungus. You don't accidentally lose control of a venomous ant species. This is bioecological warfare, and they're doing it slowly so you won't notice. Because when chaos creeps in little by little, people get distracted. Meanwhile, your food supply, your safety, it's being sabotaged. But don't worry, the government's on it, right? They're throwing $55 million a year at invasive species control, yet somehow these ants are spreading faster than ever. Sounds less like failure and more like cover. And now they want a 25% tax on your postage to fight invasive species? Stamp out Invasive Species Act? That's a scam. They created the problem, now they want to charge you for the solution. This isn't just incompetence. This is controlled failure. Weaponized bugs, sabotaged crops, taxpayer-funded chaos. Welcome to the new war zone. It's not on a battlefield, it's in your backyard.
Right here.
The next story I want to share with you is all about the insane weather we're experiencing. I'm sure most of you are already scared to go outside because of this extreme heat that's straight up causing the roads to explode.
What? Wow.
But buckling roads aren't the only scary thing we saw in the last few days. Things at Lake Tahoe have been extremely scary and strange to say the least.
Holy shit! The sheriff boat's off.
What?
Bro, this is insane, dude. Boats are sinking. Oh, fuck, dude. God.
Breaking news in California. The search is over for the final missing person after a boat capsized in Lake Tahoe over the weekend. 8 people have now died in this accident.
They're calling it a rare and freaky summer storm where the winds went from 7 miles per hour to 45 miles per hour in just 3 hours and led to this tragedy. And this trend of storms isn't just limited to the U.S. In Mexico, intense storms caused River Verde to overflow, which sent toxic foam into multiple neighborhoods.
Gente, esto está espectacular. Vean todo esto, gente. Se los dije, desvacúen, por favor, desvacúen. Esto es impresionante. Esto es algo que jamás se ha visto otra vez. Segunda llamada, por favor, todos desvacúen.
Moving on to another story, this one has to do with Jeff Bezos and his more than $30 million wedding in Venice, Italy. Apparently, he's being forced to move the venue because of all the protesters who want him to pay more taxes.
Protesters in Venice aren't too thrilled about the impending nuptials of billionaire Jeff Bezos and journalist Lauren Sanchez.
The problem is not the wedding. The problem is the system. We think that one big billionaire can't rent a city for his pleasure.
Keep in mind that Jeff Bezos is enjoying this lavish wedding while the Amazon CEO Andy Jassy is telling the employees to work faster and be ready to get fired because soon AI is going to take over their jobs. Well, this is some terrifying news. They're not even hiding it anymore. Amazon is officially testing humanoid robots to deliver your packages. Not drones, not vans, full-blown robots built to walk, see, think, and move like humans. Repeat. replacing real workers on your streets. They're calling it Humanoid Park, a creepy obstacle course lab in San Francisco where these bots are being trained to navigate sidewalks and stairs like it's some kind of dystopian Olympics. But here's the kicker. These bots are getting deployed with over 20,000 Rivian electric vans using Amazon's own AI built on models like DeepSeek and Quen. Translation, they're automating every inch of the delivery chain. No drivers, no warehouse pickers, just machines from start to finish. And this is exactly why they're saying that soon our unemployment will cross the 20% mark. Experts say artificial intelligence could wipe out half of all entry-level white-collar jobs in the U.S. over the next 1 to 5 years and push unemployment as high as 20%. That's a massive jump from today's 4.2% unemployment rate. Jobs in tech, finance, law, writing, accounting, and software are all at risk. At the same time, AI is expected to bring huge benefits, faster economic growth, major medical breakthroughs, even curing diseases like cancer. But the downside? Millions of people could be left without work. Now, finally, I want to share this story about the health insurance companies.
Dr. Oz pointed out 85% of Americans say that they have had delays in healthcare because of prior authorization. And the doctors hate it. Doctors report that it costs them 12 to 15 hours a week filling out forms. Some nurses are spending over half their time dealing with the administrative burden of this. And healthcare is often delayed to Americans. The cost of administration is enormous to our healthcare system, and we're going to be able to eliminate a lot of those costs.
I'm sure you guys have seen videos of doctors complaining about how the concept of prior authorization hurts a lot of patients.
When we physicians ask for a treatment to be authorized by an insurance company and they deny authorization, what happens at that point is that we are asked to do a peer-to-peer review, meaning that we, the doctor asking for the treatment, have to speak with the doctor who is employed by the insurance company, who is there only to say no. Now, this always has taken place on a scheduled call, but now Blue Cross is saying that they will only do their peer-to-peer reviews by calling the doctor who is asking for the treatment to be authorized. And they will only call once. And they won't tell you when they're calling. And they won't tell you what number they're calling from. So if you're a doctor seeing patients and you have your phone on Do Not Disturb because you're seeing patients, now this always has taken place on a scheduled call. And it has to be scheduled around the insurance company doctor's schedule.
So in that sense, I'm happy that RFK Jr. is finally forcing the companies to do something about it. However, it's not enough. These companies have made billions in federal dollars while denying life-saving care to elderly patients all over the country.
Get ready to file this one under, I can believe it, but it's the sickest thing I've ever heard. United Healthcare fell 6% today on the stock market after news broke that they were secretly paying nursing homes to reduce hospital transfer rates. You know what that means? That means when your grandma in the nursing home is sick enough to need to go to the hospital, these nursing homes were taking kickbacks secretly from an insurance company to prevent grandma from going to the hospital.
They are the worst.
That is horrible. I mean, I don't even know what to say. That these people should definitely be held accountable, and we should not be letting this happen. As one person, I don't know what to do, but somebody's got to do something. I'm happy RFK is trying to do some stuff, but what are we going to do? Our government and the world is going absolutely crazy on us.
Worst of the worst, and you have to go harder on them or this healthcare mafia will keep haunting us for decades to come. We're going to end today's video right there.
Alright, you guys leave me some comments. All I know is I feel very bad for my children if they have to grow up in the world that this world is right now is turning into. It scares me for them. So, All right, until the next one, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a wonderful Wednesday, and God bless. Bye.